What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1. An absolutely shambolic display at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Just trying, man. Just trying. This is really hard to do. But look, it was it was pathetic. It was embarrassing. All the negative words that you want to throw in there, that's what the performance was yesterday. Not many players, not many people come through that with much credit. Maybe Vicario, Romero when he came on.
Fans?
Yeah, well, you talk to me about the fans, because like here on the watch along, I was listening in. At the start, it sounded electric. I saw videos coming out from the concourse, which looked brilliant. Fans did their part. Players didn't.
Yeah, and I think, there's all these initiatives before the game to try and build a really strong atmosphere. Big London derby. We know that the fans need to be the 12th man in these kind of games. And I think there was a really, obviously, concerted effort before the game to try and build that, try and make the place a bit of a cauldron. And I think at the start, it was really good. And the atmosphere was really loud. The Tottenham fans were doing their bit. And you could see all these efforts that have been put into place. They were kind of working. But it's hard to keep it up for the whole game when not only are we not playing well, we're not even having a shot. We're not getting anywhere near their box. We're struggling to get in their half for a lot of that game.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think the fans definitely did quieten down during the game. Once, I think the big moment was obviously Chelsea took the lead, and then on that point, there was a lot of frustration in the air. Loud boos at half time, loud boos at full time. I think the big frustration, especially at full time, is 6 minutes added on, stoppage time. You're expecting some sort of attempt to try and get a last minute equaliser, try and commit a robbery essentially. And the best we could muster was Vicario playing a long free kick straight into Sanchez's arms. That was the best we could do. And that I think at full time it definitely hit boiling point, I have to say. And very loud boos at full time when the players were coming round. A bit of a mix, some cheered, some clapping, some were voicing their frustration at the manager, and some of the players as well. And on this channel and me personally, we don't, especially when a manager like Frank is so early on in his tenure, you don't like to see that. You don't advocate for booing in that kind of circumstance, I would say. But I have to say that performance, it was hard to disagree with the boos.
Yeah.
Not to say that the players weren't trying, but it was, I would say, it seemed to be a hesitancy to go forward. It seems like they were scared to go forward. There were chances to swing the ball in the box, and every time there was no, we're going to wait, and then ends up back of Vicario every time. Where a few times we win the ball in their half, okay, let's go on the attack, let's, get a shot or get a set piece. And a few seconds later, the ball's back of Vicario. Always playing it backwards. It was a very, very frustrating watch, and it was cowardly and pathetic, I think is the best way to put it, really. And when you're playing like that, right, okay, it's one thing if you're playing like that and, offer some sort of threat on the counter, we didn't. Okay, be defensively solid, we weren't. Okay, offer something from set pieces, we didn't. There was nothing positive about that performance whatsoever.
Yeah. When you're saying the boos and the toxicity, was that mainly targeted at the players, or was it targeted at the manager? Was it a bit of both, or do you not really know?
There's obviously no chance of Frank out, so but I think a bit of both. I think we know as fans that these, as much as we can all have complaints about the players, don't get me wrong, and we can all say this one's not good enough, that one's not good enough, and everything like that. We all know, everyone in that stadium knows that the team that was out there is good enough to have more than one shot on target, and that was barely even a chance that we had. Yeah. So we all know, regardless of who's good enough and who's not, we're definitely better than literally not even getting near to their penalty box. We know that. When we're better than just pretty much defending for most of the game, and not even being defensively solid, and not even having, for a large part of that game, it looks like we didn't even have an appetite to go forward. We didn't have an interest to go forward. And that is, to a lot of Tottenham fans, unacceptable. I think you can see the big difference. I mean, cast your mind back to 2 years ago. We lost 4-1 at home to Chelsea. Bigger loss, bigger defeat with 9 men. And and it's similar. I mean, it's actually very similar parallel. 10 games into a new regime. In both circumstances, both managers are doing quite well in the league. You know, quite high up. I think we were top at the time under Ange, but we were third going into this game. And we lose both games. Yet 2 years ago, we went off to a standing ovation, and all the fans were proud of what they saw, despite the heavy defeat. And yesterday, they went off to very loud boos and frustration. And
I think if you compare the form of performances from that day to yesterday, they were night and day. To be honest, like we came out on fire that day. Scored a goal early. Maybe, and I think Spurs actually did themselves proud in terms of the performance yesterday. Was nothing short of disgraceful. It really was. And
yeah, but my point is, it's not just the result.
No, you need something to cling on to. You need something to go on. And we got 2 men sent off. You could see the clear effort levels from the players. You could see the identity of the team. You could see what we were trying to do. Like yesterday, you couldn't take away anything from that game in a positive light and grab it and say, you know what, we can go again next game. I know obviously what happened after that Chelsea game happened and we kind of fell apart a little bit, but that's a different case. In that game specifically, you can grab onto something and you say, we know what we're trying to do here. You can see a clear space to move forward in. Yesterday, there was none of that. Literally nothing positive at all to take away from that game. And as much as I've said many a time over the course of the season so far that we need more quality in the forward line, these players aren't good enough, that's still the case. However, the manager, for me, takes all the blame yesterday. And I'm one of Frank's biggest, fans and biggest defenders and whatever you want to call it. He takes all the blame for me, for the tactical setup, for the way we conducted ourselves, for the insipid display. Like, I don't think he got anything right yesterday. Literally everything was completely wrong. He said in the press conference before the game that you're going to see a Tottenham team that go at Chelsea from the first minute. Where was that yesterday? We didn't go at Chelsea once throughout the whole game. And, we got Bergvall gets concussion in the first few minutes and Javi has to come on, blah, blah, blah. And that did take the sting out of, the first few minutes of the game. But it's no excuse. We did not... It didn't look like we had any intention to put Chelsea under pressure and go at them. All it was, particularly the first half, we tried to go long, try and hit Muani and try and make him make a miracle at any time, the ball was falling close to him. And he can't do it all by himself. It was either that or try and get the ball to Kudus and get him to make a miracle. So we were just relying on miracles yesterday. That's all it was.
Yeah, but this is what I was saying. After the Everton game, when people are pointing these things out and they're saying, and you were complaining that I was pointing things out, you don't have to call it out, you were saying. After Everton, I know we won the game 3-0, we scored from 2 set pieces. But these are the things we were saying. This is what we say. I'm not even saying now what we saw yesterday is necessarily not going to improve. I'm sure Frank's going to work on it, but I'm saying we point these things out because we can see that's what's happening. We're very much struggling to create. We're struggling to do anything on the pitch. We were heavily relying on set pieces and Mohamed Kudus, and that's something that's massively got to change. And I think yesterday got to a bit of a boiling point. And I know our away form is very good, and that's fine. But look, that was actually my first time this season in the ground. So it's my first time experiencing the match-going fans and the atmosphere at home this season. And I was actually really surprised how negative. I mean, obviously it started quite positively, and everyone was trying to garner a good atmosphere, but I was shocked by how loud the negative reaction was to performance. I understand the performance was horrendous. It was, but given that we are not doing badly in the league, and we're still right now we're fourth, and Frank so early on in his tenure, I didn't expect such a massive reaction, but there was a big reaction yesterday because I think fans. I think it's more to do with as much as that yesterday was bad. The signs of yesterday have been happening all season of how we've been playing.
I think the negative reaction is born out of the game that it is. as well as a lot of Spurs fans, I think the majority of the Spurs fan base were going into this with like a really positive attitude. A lot of people were predicting wins. A lot of Spurs fans were going into this game very confident, you know. I think you predicted a draw in the Prem, but then in the preview you were saying Spurs were going to win. I said Spurs were going to win in both. And that wasn't just us. Like, a lot of Spurs fans were predicting wins yesterday. And on top of that, it's a game against Chelsea. It's a London derby. There are a couple of games in a season where, you know, the levels of aggression, the levels just needs to be at a certain level. Obviously, you want it in every game, but against Chelsea and against Arsenal, it's unforgivable when these performances happen. It really is. And obviously that game was yesterday, Chelsea at home. And when you put in a performance like that, as well as Chelsea, you know, yeah, they're a good side, but they've just lost to Sunderland at home. And yeah, Sunderland are having a good start to the season. And Spurs should be spelling blood in that sense. They're coming into our patch. We're third in the league. We should be able to put in a lot better performance than that. And the levels were nowhere near. And I think that is the main reason. It's because of the game it was, why it got so toxic, in my opinion.
Well, I think that, and yes, it was the game it was, but also it could have been anyone. I think the reaction would have been bad because.
But I think it was worse because it was Chelsea.
Probably, but I also think you honestly, I think this is gonna sound hyperbolic, but I think you put any of the 19 teams on the pitch yesterday and they do a better job than what Tottenham did yesterday. Like, it was that bad. I think you put Wolves at home and they probably do a better job than what we did. And I know the scoreline suggests 1-0. It's a lot higher than it was, but 1-0 was a complete shadow of
100%.
what the performance was. It should have been 3 or 4. Probably could have been worse.
100%.
It completely flattered us. Vicario was doing the Lord's work, because if it wasn't for him, we would have lost 3-0 to Monaco, and we would have lost probably 4-0 yesterday. And it saved, and on the face of it, in the end, we only drew 0-0, we only lost 1-0. It could have been very, very different.
We've been very lucky in that sense.
But how is it that bad? I just can't get my head around how it was as bad as it was yesterday. It's like, it boggles the mind how, I don't care what anyone says, we had a team on the pitch that should be able to do a lot more than we did yesterday. As I say, every team in the league, in my opinion, at least gets more shots. And I think they probably have. I reckon that's probably the lowest chances created against Chelsea this season. I would.
It's a 0.05 XG at home.
It's nuts.
It's disgraceful.
Nuts. How can you be so blunt? And we have players that should be able to hurt them. Absolutely. Like, we have more than enough talent to create something. If Burnley and Wolves and Sunderland, and if all these teams at the bottom, in my opinion, have enough in their squad to hurt Chelsea more than we did yesterday, then we have enough.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look at, like, even Burnley created a higher XG than Arsenal yesterday, than we did against Chelsea. You know, and Arsenal are not even conceding shots on target. Like, Arsenal have got, you know, we all know how impenetrable Arsenal are. That in itself is an absolute disgrace.
Forest, Ange got sacked, right? He created 2.35.
Yeah.
That's a game he got sacked in.
Well, they actually played well that game in the first half.
Like, but I'm saying, it's possible to create chances against this Chelsea team.
Yeah. I don't know what to put it down to, but the manager needs to take a long, hard look at the way he's conducting the tactics. And yesterday has got to be a massive eye-opener. And it's got to change. Something has to change massively. And we can't keep doing this, particularly at home, this kind of no intention to go and attack the opposition and just relying on set pieces.
And we've got a big problem when we've seen as well at home. Obviously, we've been a lot worse at home, but against Bournemouth, we were 1-0 down. We had absolutely no answer to conceding, and it was almost as if like we had no idea how to get back in the game. Wolves, when we went 1-0 down, I know we did end up equalising, but you know, that was a bit of a stroke of luck if we're all being honest, and Paulinho scores a bit of a worldie, and we had no idea how to get back in that game. We had absolutely run out of ideas as soon as they scored.
Yeah.
I think yesterday as well. To be fair, what I would say about yesterday is I'm not saying we were playing well before Chelsea scored, but it was probably a very tight game. Both teams weren't doing much. It was quite a bitty game. I think still Chelsea was still the better side. Yeah, but I don't know how many shots there were either side, really.
I can't remember the chance, but I remember saying at the time when João Pedro scored that, you know, we're lucky because he should have scored a few minutes earlier than that. So there were chances in the game for Chelsea before they scored.
Wasn't it their first shot on target when they scored?
Yeah, it might have been the first shot on target, but there were still chances in the game. You know what I mean?
I think it was a very tight game, like before they scored, and then they got the goal. And then as soon as they got the goal, it's again, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to respond. And that has been a common theme at home. We have no idea what to do when we go behind. And when you're at home, you should be throwing caution to the wind. You have to be showing some attacking intent for the home fans. It's all well and good away from home playing like we are. That's fine. I think fans are understandable of that. Going away from home is very difficult, and you've got to be smart and you've got to be organised, and it's not always going to be flashy. You have to grind out wins. All the top teams do that. But when you're at home, this is unacceptable. In front of the home crowd, there are 60,000 Tottenham fans there. You can't be playing the way we did and expect the fans to be happy about it and expect the fans to accept it. On top of that, we're not even getting the results. Yeah. So I think the problem is, this is how we've been playing, and like this season, like it's not like yesterday was. For me, I know it was probably the worst of it because we didn't create anything, but yesterday is just a continuation of a lot of what we've seen this season in open play. I think the difference is set pieces has been big, and we've been able to create. And yesterday's set pieces were awful, and Kudus has been able to create more than he did yesterday. Yeah, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to. They focused on shutting him down.
It's just mad to think about as well, because like before the game yesterday, however bad you're saying it has been from open play, like we'd scored the most goals out of anyone in the Premier League from open play. So I mean, that just shows you the way the Premier League has been this season and the way it's going, and no one's really seemed to score a lot of goals from open play at this moment in time, which like, how mad is that to say how bad Spurs have been from scoring from open play or creating chance from open play, but we've been the top goal scorers in the league from open play.
From open play, we're the top?
Yeah.
That's mad.
Before yesterday.
I mean, I don't know how, because we don't do anything from open play.
I don't get it either. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, not many teams are doing it. Like, not many teams are creating from open play this season.
It's true. This season, 100% the focus has massively been on set pieces. I think we all know that has been a massive trend. We've seen that with a lot of the top teams. The only teams who don't seem to do it massively are Liverpool, City, Brighton, and Chelsea. Chelsea, although at the beginning of the season they were doing a lot from corners, but their focus is mainly on open play. Arsenal, we know, set pieces. And Bournemouth maybe as well, you could say, aren't so focused on it. But every other team seems to be. Yeah. It seems to be that's what they're trying to massively take advantage of.
Look, the reality is we know it's not good enough. We know it's nowhere near the levels that we need to see. And the manager's got a big job on his hand. He needs to change things. He needs to change things quick. Because if this carries on, the fans just going to get more toxic. And it might even become like an untenable situation. But, you know, you look at managers, a lot of managers that have kind of bad starts. I know results haven't been that bad, but in terms of performances, it has been bad. A lot of managers do take time to work. So in my opinion, you've got to stick with it. You've got to stick with the process, and hopefully it can get better. But at this moment in time, from a general footballing standpoint, there's not that much to go on.
It's tough watch. It's very, very difficult to watch at the moment.
It's like I don't know if many fans are frank out or not, but I think that conversation is pretty stupid at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Like, you got, what are you supposed to do if you sack a manager? Like what direction do you go in next after that? So we've made the decision to hire Frank, which I think is a good decision. I'm backing him all the way. I believe that he can turn it around and can become a good manager, successful manager at Tottenham Hotspur, but he needs to do a lot more.
And I agree. I think he can be a good manager and a successful manager. But my big worry and concern is what I talked about after the Everton game. I'm not saying he can't play attacking football. The attacking football is definitely not going to come. But I can't say for certain that it isn't on the current evidence.
You know, his first interview as Tottenham manager, that's what he said he wanted to do. He said he wanted to play attacking football.
Yeah, but so did Conte.
Yeah, it's
true.
He
also said it. And I think Mourinho even said it. They sell us I'm not saying he was lying. But I'm just saying they sell us what we want to hear at the beginning. But it's about actions speak louder than words. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I know his Brentford team scored goals, but they weren't an attacking side. They scored goals. They're a counter-attacking side. And most games they played, most teams feel like they could beat them, even to teams in the bottom half. They were never really played against teams who didn't feel like they could beat them, because every team goes into that game knowing they're on bigger wages, they got a bigger budget, so they should be in the ascendancy. And Brentford took advantage of that, and they're a very, very smart team. But now it's a different kettle of fish. Now he's got to play in a different way at a bigger club. And look, we are fourth, so I can't sit here and say it's not working. And I do think he's a clever manager, he's an effective manager. But when it comes to playing the football that we as fans want to see, I don't know if that's ever going to come. I can't sit here and say it will. And it might not matter, because we might continue to get results, good enough results, that keeps the fans happy, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the football, and we're expecting it to, we're all expecting and hoping that we start becoming more free-flowing and free-attacking, and I hope that is the case, and I'm sure Frank is going to work on that. But I don't know if I'm sitting here saying it's not guaranteed to happen.
It has to come, because he can't look at these home games, the way that we're managing ourselves in home games, and think that if he carries on doing the same things and playing the same way, that results are going to come. And the performances that fans want to see at home, like you mentioned before, like seeing it away from home is fine. Like, I don't mind seeing it away from home. You need to have a bit of grit when you go away from home and handle yourselves in a different way. But when you're at home, as a Tottenham manager, you got to play like you're the favourites, and you got to take the game to the opposition. You got to work tooth and nail to break the opposition down, and we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And to rely on set pieces and moments in games at home against lesser opposition as well, not just Chelsea. You know, I don't want to call Bournemouth lesser opposition, but in the historical thing says they're lesser opposition. Wolves as well. You know, it's not good enough, and it needs to change massively. And Frank needs to realise that at home we need to be this possession-based side that go at the opposition.
But at least, even when we had Mourinho and Conte, like, at least we were. I know. I guess we did have Kane and Son, so it's hard to compare. But we were a massive threat on the counter. Like, at least when we were defending and we were being organised, like, you know, and we were not so focused on dominating. At least when we did get on the counter and we did get the ball, we were a threat. But we're not really very good at counter-attacking.
No.
Under Frank. I don't remember too many goals where we get the ball and we're bam, 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 and we're Brentford were really good on the counter. We're not very good on the counter.
Yeah. But I guess it probably took him a while to drill those things into the Brentford side. Like, again, like, it's still very early on in Frank's tenure. And we just got to hope and pray it gets better. I think it will get better. I think it will get better, and I'm praying it will get better as well. But it has to get better, because it can't get much worse. That's the reality.
Yeah. And Frank, you know, he's got a big focus on trying to improve the free-flowing football, as he says. He wants it to be more free-flowing, and that obviously hopefully does come with time, and that comes with more time with the relationships of the players. The problem is we're watching it, and the relationships don't seem to be growing, really. In fact, we probably looked a bit better going forward earlier in the season. But the thing is, we played City and PSG earlier in the season, you know, top teams. Like, where was that kind of performance yesterday? Like, at least a battling performance with loads of grit and aggression, and like, when we had our chances to go forward, we actually looked threatening. Like, there was none of that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, when we were playing these teams at home, like the Bournemouths and the Wolves, and losing, or you know, not getting the win, you know, we were saying, oh yeah, wait till we play the big teams, we'll be a lot better. We've seen against big teams we can do so well. Mm-hmm. And then this game has come around, and this makes me very worried about this run that we've got coming up now. Manchester United, a resurgent Manchester United, Arsenal coming up after that, Newcastle away coming up after that. I can't see 3 points in any of those 3 games.
Well, on yesterday's evidence, 100%.
Like,
100%.
It's really worrying, because like you mentioned before, the league is so tight together now. If we lose 3 games in a row now, like, we're going to be way down there in the bottom half of the table. And the gaps will start to appear as well.
Yeah, and that's the nature of the league at the moment. So that's why I wasn't getting too excited about being third and all these things. It's a couple of losses and you're mid-table, so it doesn't really matter. It matters how you're playing more right now. than results. As much as results, I'm not saying they're not important, but the most important thing is when you're starting at a new team, how you're getting them to play and what you're seeing on the pitch, and if you're seeing it grow and if you're seeing it improve. That's not what we're seeing at the moment. But
in fact, it's getting worse.
Yeah, and it is getting worse, but it is still very early on. It is 10 games into a new regime, so I don't think it's right to call for his head or say he has to leave his job at anything at this point. It's still so early, and at the end of the day, we are fourth. So results-wise, it's not been bad, but performances just can't continue at home as they are because the home crowd will get worse and worse. And you know what? It's not even the crowd I'm as worried as well. Look at the players. Is there something going on with the players and Frank? I know you spoke about it yesterday on the stream with the reaction of Spence and Van der Ven. It's been a big talking point after yesterday's defeat. But he just put it down to they're frustrated after a loss. They just want to, go in the tunnel. They don't want to clap the fans. I saw Match of the Day talk about it yesterday. They were kind of saying it's understandable. They're frustrated after a defeat. But I don't know. It's like, for me, they were massively disrespecting Frank very publicly. Frank is going over there saying, look, you got to go clap the fans. They're looking straight for the tunnel. You got to go clap fans. And especially Spence, he's throwing his arms at him, completely ignoring him. They're going down the tunnel. That is massive public disrespect to the current manager of the football team. And how is Frank going to deal with that situation? He's keeping it in-house. He said publicly yesterday, it's not a big deal. It's a small issue. Out of all the issues we had after yesterday, that's the smallest one. I understand that. But I don't know, does a stronger manager make a stronger stance yesterday? Not necessarily in the press conference, but even on the pitch when they're like ignoring him and saying, hey, don't ignore me. I'm telling you, go to the fans. Like, make a thing of it. Don't just like allow them to go unnoticed and ignore you. No. That like allow you to ignore you so publicly. What message does that send to the rest of the players as well?
No, you don't want to make more out of it in public. You need to keep it in-house, and you need to berate the players behind closed doors. You don't want to start a thing on the pitch and make it, seem even bigger. I think a stronger manager, what he does is sends a message after it's all said and done inside the dressing room. He doesn't make more on the pitch and start grabbing the players and saying, no, you need to go and thank the fans instead of just walking past me. Of course, it looked like a massive sign of disrespect from Spence and Van der Ven, and Van der Ven was captain on the day. I think it's disgraceful, to be honest, showing a manager that's just been here for 10 games in the Premier League season, that sign of disrespect. But, the manager can't start pulling the players up on it on the pitch. You need to do it in the dressing room. Like, I think a bigger disciplinarian would probably not let them play in the next couple of games at least. Like, you can't show that massive sign of disrespect and there's been no circumstances and no comeuppance for the players. Like, there has to be something, surely.
Yeah, I mean, from what I thought, if we understood the context of the situation correctly, I would say absolutely. Because Frank he's the manager. He's the one with ultimate authority in the dressing room. If you start allowing players to disrespect you like that and ignore you, not even...
but you can't do something on the pitch. Like, what do you expect them to do on the pitch?
Tell them, hey, don't ignore me. I'm talking to you. That is not a...
Yeah, but at that moment, right... He's spoken to them. They've completely walked past. So you expect Frank to run back and start shouting at them on the pitch.
It can happen. I've seen Conte and Mourinho do stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's very rare.
Right, but that's an exceptional circumstance. It's not. I'm not saying that.
I think it just makes it look way worse. Way worse.
Does it? At least he's trying to, stamp his authority on them. This situation seems.
But why do it on the pitch?
Weak.
Why not just?
Because it's happening right there.
Yeah, but why not just wait until they're in the dressing room and do it there?
Because they're literally in the process of ignoring him.
Yeah.
So hey, don't ignore me. Like, don't let them just walk past you like that. If you're trying to talk to them.
We don't know what was said. He could have said that as they were walking past.
He could have, and if he did, then fine. But I don't know. You're right. I don't know what was said. But I just think letting them just ignore you like that.
He's not. It's not letting them ignore you. Like they've ignored. Like there's not much more he can do in that situation. You have to do it. You have to keep it behind closed doors, and there's no point. There's no point starting a fight on the pitch. There is literally no point. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
No good can come from it.
Just the only thing I would say is it allows Frank to just let everyone know he's establishing his authority there.
Yeah,
not
but
letting them ignore him.
It doesn't matter what the fans know and what the fans see on the pitch. It matters what happens behind closed doors, and if he actually is kind of being authoritarian or whatever the word is, he has to let them know. But I don't think it's right to let them know on the pitch. Okay,
that's fair. But that's one thing I was concerned about with Frank, is the question I've had a bit is he too nice? Is he at Brentford, everything was like very holistic, everyone was together, everyone was on the same page about everything. Everyone knows that we're working on a small budget, we're going to try and get these minimal gains. We're going to play any type of football we can to survive. Everyone was like happy. There was no big egos, no big signings. Everyone was like cheap players, and Frank was looking to develop them. All these kind of players. Everyone was on the same page. Now he's got big egos. He's got big expectations. He's got different kind of characters in the dressing room. Players in the dressing room who have won big trophies, who have all just on the back of winning a trophy as well last season, who have had big careers, and he's going to have to manage all those different situations. And, sometimes he's going to have to be very stern with these players. And he seems just like a very nice guy, and that's fine. But sometimes you need the other side to you. I'm not saying he doesn't have it. That was just one thing when I saw him at Brentford. It just seemed everything was so nice and everything was so like happy, kind of not happy-go-lucky, but like because at Brentford the only expectation is survive. It doesn't matter if you lose 5 games in a row, because if you win that 6th game, you can keep yourself up. So the expectations, the pressure isn't there as much. But now it's a different kettle of fish. He's got to keep these players in line a lot of the time. Not all the time. Yes, you want to get on with them. You want a good relation with them. But things like yesterday, you need to keep them in line. You can't let them do that in public. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I'm a bit concerned about with Frank is, does he have that kind of... He's a good manager, I think, when it comes to encouraging players, developing players. But when it comes to asserting his authority like a lot of the bigger managers do, I don't know. I don't know if he has that side to him.
Time will tell, won't it?
It's not something we've seen publicly, put it that way.
Time will tell. Time will tell about how it all plays out. But look, the reality is what happened on that pitch with Van de Ven and Spence is just not a great look for anyone. It's not a great look for the players. It's not a great look for the manager. It's not a great look for the club.
But for you, why did they react like they? Was it just?
I think it was just complete frustration. In my opinion, I think it's just complete frustration. They've just been embarrassed on the pitch. They've just both had stinkers as well. And they just wanted to get into the dressing room, have a shower as soon as possible and just get out of there.
So it was nothing against Frank. Frank just happened to be in there.
I don't know. We don't know, but I think it was mainly just born out of frustration. It could be due to playing style and maybe this is not the way they want to play. But I think it was mainly just down to frustration about, just a terrible, terrible performance and terrible individual displays as well.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. But I'm just saying, I think it's very odd how they didn't even want to acknowledge Frank really,
it's very
and
odd,
talk to him. Even if you are frustrated, he's still the manager and he's still right in front of you, and he's trying to talk to you, and you're just ignoring him and walking past him. Was there any frustration directed towards him as much as the performance? I do wonder.
It might have been, but we have to wait and see how it plays out. It's going to be very interesting now to see if Van de Ven comes out the team, does Spence come out the team, because we're going to need them as well, because we're actually such short in numbers in those positions.
And it's so out of character and I'm not saying it's in character necessarily for Spence, but we know Spence, there's always been, talk to his attitude and stuff like that. I'm not saying he has a bad attitude necessarily, but we know he's like a very confident guy. He's very sure of himself, and he's not scared of letting his feelings known, put it that way. Jed Spence, he'll say what he feels. He said that, I think, when he was on that Rio Ferdinand podcast, that's just his character, right? How he feels in a moment, he'll say how it is.
And you saw his frustrations boiling over in the game as well.
Yeah.
You saw how he was getting in, was it Cucurella's face?
Yeah, that was
stuff
funny.
Like that.
But Van de Ven, very out of character, that kind of thing. Not seen that side to him, Van de Ven, since he's come into the Spurs.
And he had the captain's armband on.
He's always been very cool, calm, collected. Always keeps a very level-headed thing about things. He's always had quite a strong mentality. I've never really seen him get frustrated, at a manager or anything like that. So for him to, especially as you say, he's captain on the day, for him to respond like that after a game seemed just very out of character. Just didn't seem like something he would do.
Yeah. And it's hard to put your finger on what's actually happening. I don't know if we're ever going to know, but it's going to be very interesting to see what the kind of discourse after what he picks, the teams he picks now. Because I think there has to be some sort of repercussions for the actions. I think there has to be. You can't, I don't think Frank can let them get away with it. You can't. It's a massive sign of disrespect on the pitch, no matter. And I think it's worse when you're club captain as well.
But also, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, against Newcastle in midweek.
Yeah.
Some players as well tried to go in without showing non-transparency. It's becoming a bit of a trend in the last couple of games. Players frustrated with the performance are going straight down the tunnel and not showing any appreciation to the fans, especially on Wednesday, fans who travelled all that way for a nighttime game on a midweek and probably had to stay in Newcastle.
So did the rest of the players walk around the pitch apart from them two and clap the fans?
I wasn't counting, but the players did, yeah.
Yeah, the players did. I think the players, particularly if you're club captain on the day, need to have a bit more balls than that and go around and front up the fans and actually, put your hands up, apologise, go and clap them for the unbelievable support that they give week in, week out. I think it's a bit of a dick move and a bit of a cowardly move to go straight into the tunnel and to ignore the manager like that, to be honest. So if I'm ever going to take sides on this situation, I'm going to take sides with the manager.
Oh, Frank's doing the right thing. Frank's doing the right thing for calling them out, but it's just worrying that he might lack that authority. That's what I'm worried about. But we'll see how things play out in that aspect. But 100%, Frank is doing the right thing. Hey guys, go clap the fans. What are you doing? They put in a shift today. You got to acknowledge that, and they're just ignoring him, and they're just going down the tunnel. So Spence and Van de Ven are behaving pathetically. But
absolutely.
The only concern I would have just on that is just about what that says about Frank's authority on the players. That's the concern I have. But I completely agree with you. I'm 100% with Frank on trying to on not letting those players walk down the tunnel, walk past him, and try and get him to clap the fans.
Yeah.
I think they're being pathetic.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to know what you guys think on that situation in the comment section below.
But is this like 2 years ago where the Chelsea game, it all came crashing down in the Chelsea game?
It's always the bloody Chelsea game.
Is it happening again? History repeating
It's
itself.
always the Chelsea game, 10th game of the season. bloody Chelsea, man. I hate them so much. Hate them. But look, it was all Spurs, the master of their own downfalls yesterday. What more could you say on it? What more could you say? Just absolutely pathetic from everyone involved. The players need to take a long, hard look at themselves. Frank needs to take a long, hard look at themselves. And we just have to see a much better... we got Copenhagen on Tuesday night. We need to see something, and we need to see a big reaction in that game.
The problem is, even we played Wolves at home, we didn't even win that game, you know what I mean? So
I know. But things have to have, we've seen a few... if you see one bad performance, it's, you're right, you can put it down to a bad day. When it starts happening regularly, particularly at home, then something major has to change within the tactical setup and the way everyone's handling themselves on the pitch. So I need to see that big reaction on Tuesday night.
Absolutely. And we've got 2 home games coming up.
Yeah. Copenhagen and Manchester United.
We're talking about home games like they're away games.
I know, it's mad. It's just mad. And I don't... First of all, in that performance yesterday, I don't remember the last time I've seen a performance as bad as that. Was it Newcastle away when we were 5-0 down after a few minutes? Literally, that's how bad it was, in my opinion. We just were lucky on the day that João Pedro didn't have his shooting boots on. We were just very lucky that he put in a bit of a stinker in front of goal and Vicario was on top form. I don't remember seeing a performance as bad as that for a long time. It seems to be
a one-man team with just Vicario recently.
Yeah. But there's that, and let's just hope and pray, man. Let's just hope and pray, because that's all we can do right now. But that is the match review. We got a couple of super chats to get through. Well, quite a lot, actually. Your boy Crazy Rat was having arguments all day yesterday.
With who?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but he was sending in super chats, arguing with someone.
My man, Crazy Rat, big up.
CCM28 says, managers get too much stick. It's on the players to show up and put a performance in. All of the team's touches were shite. Manager can't control touches, which I get to a certain extent, but the tactics were completely wrong yesterday. And the players should have played better. And, you know, they can't... Frank can't make them make a 5-yard pass and make 3-4 passes in a row. But there's always a gaping hole in the middle of the park. Like, we're always constantly trying to go down the wings. And if we're not trying to go down the wings, we're just battering it up the pitch and trying to Moani against 2 defenders, asking him to do God's work. Like, it's not going to happen.
But clearly, whatever the approach was yesterday, the manager has to take a big responsibility for the hesitancy, it seemed, from a lot of these players to attack and actually try things in the final third. It seems though when there were opportunities we had to swing it in, put crosses in, and we kept delaying and protecting the ball all the time, protecting possession instead of actually trying to score a goal. And it led to all the time it going back.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time found its way back to Vicario. And I think that has to be something to do with the approach. It can't just be the player is all on the players. Like, the manager has to set them up to find ways to go forward and encourage them to try things and go forward. And clearly that wasn't the case yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. Marcus says, showing true ambition in improving our attack would be signing Bradley Barcola. I'm not hearing this Bowen nonsense. Vlahovic over Tony in January. We're a long way away from January, guys. A lot is going to happen from now until January.
But we're blaming all the strikers. Like, do you think Vlahovic being on the pitch yesterday makes a difference?
No.
Like, it doesn't.
I'm telling you, yeah, we could have had Mbappe up front yesterday and it wouldn't have made a difference.
No, it wouldn't. It's not the quality of the striker that's the problem yesterday. It's what the service we're giving him and how we're approaching the forward play. That's the big problem.
Exactly. Essa El Shamari says, the game was embarrassing. It was the first time I go to a game and sleep from 70 minutes to injury time. Just so boring. Yeah. Did you fall asleep? Did you be able to have a kip at the stadium yesterday?
I was probably too frustrated to fall asleep, but yeah, I could have. I could have fallen asleep because we were doing absolutely nada. We never even got close. You know, 10 minutes to go, you're like, okay, maybe we'll give it one big push. It's only 1-0. Didn't even get close to their box.
You see, like, against Newcastle, when we went 1-0 down, at least we had a go after that. Like, you know, we saw signs that we can actually take from the game. Well, I don't understand where that was yesterday. Not once, even after going 1-0 down, do we even look like we had any intention of having a go. Just don't understand it. CCM28 saying, without Frank's pragmatism, this team is facing relegation just as it was last year. Let's forget we lost to Leicester at home less than 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, we're not facing relegation. I don't believe that. But look, Frank's pragmatism has us where we are in the league, so you have to credit him for that, and that's true. But if we can say that's the big question. I don't know if we keep playing this way. No, I don't think we're up for relegation.
Essa El Shamari says, Sim, I understand Spence. You just had an embarrassing game. It must have felt like he couldn't show his face to the fans and he wanted to leave ASAP. Yeah, but regardless if you feel like that, you're the one that's let the fans down. You're part of the group that have let the fans down. So go show them some appreciation for the effort that they put into the game.
Agreed. And he was part of, obviously, big part of the goal we conceded as well. But no, it's still unacceptable.
And by the way, Spence, in the last couple of games, like, you had the shit show which was leading up to the goal yesterday with Spence. You had the shoelace gate last game at Newcastle. And don't forget the goal that we conceded at Bodo as well, with that stupid flick into the middle of the park. Like, Spence has got these really stupid things creeping into his game in the last few weeks. And he needs to cut that out massively, because it's letting us down time and time again now.
Costing us.
The Spurs Watch says,
come on.
Good stuff as always, boys. Much love. And as we say that, West Ham go 2-1 up against Newcastle.
Botman own goal.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
West Ham look like they're playing really well, actually. Nobody had West Ham winning on their bingo card today. Anyway, I'm sure they'll fall apart at some point and Newcastle will be back. But look, let's get into player ratings from yesterday. Obviously, 1-0 loss against Chelsea. Starting off with the man of the match, Vicario. 9s all round for Big Vic. And ever since people have been starting questioning and being in the starting lineup, he's just like turned into beast mode, saving us week in, week out. Top performance. I think the last 3 ratings we've given him, I think we've agreed on all 3, which is a 10, an 8 and a 9. So the guy is performing completely out of his skin. If it wasn't for him, if we had Kinski in goal yesterday, we'd probably lose that game 4-0.
Yeah.
So I can't commend Vicario enough for the way he's handling himself at the moment.
Yeah, big saves, big one-on-one saves as well. In the end of the game, it seemed as though it was like 3 Chelsea attackers up against Vicario. And Vicario
because Romero was up front.
It was crazy. He somehow kept the score. He kept the score kind of respectable. Obviously, it did nothing to do with the how bad the performance was, but yeah, Vicario, brilliant. If it wasn't for him, the amount of goals we would have conceded in recent weeks is actually laughable. I think in the end it was 7 saves against Monaco. It was 8 saves. It's crazy. That's 15 saves in those 2 games. Madness.
Mad. Next up, Pedro Porro. 3s all round for Pedro. This is one of the worst displays I've seen from Pedro in a while. There was that one mistake, wasn't there, in the first half, which Chelsea nearly scored from. That was absolutely tragic. His passing yesterday, man. Oh my days! I've actually noticed it quite a bit this season. About his passing is nowhere near as good as it has been in previous seasons. But yesterday was, oh my God, it was so bad, man. Like, he just couldn't make a pass. I didn't know what was going on with him yesterday. Like, his performances seem to be getting worse at the moment. And, you know, he's got all these metrics behind him this season, defensive metrics. But where he earns his money in terms of what his biggest selling point is his attacking displays and his passing, that just seems to have all gone to shit this season.
I still think he gets forward well in terms of when he gets into the forward lines. I think where he's letting himself down is in build-up. I think his build-up used to be really effective. I think when he was playing like a bit of an inverted role, obviously under Ange, he was a big player in build-up for us. But recently, that element of his game is really struggling. Now, why is that struggling? I don't know. But we know he's a good passer, but he's being so reckless on the ball. He's giving the ball away in such poor situations, and his long-range passing is not being good as well. I think on the ball at the moment, especially in his own half, there's something that desperately needs to change with him.
Yeah. Kevin Danso up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. I've been full of praise from Kevin Danso pretty much since Cuti Romero's got injured, but I think this has been by far the worst of the lot, to be honest. I think he was under a lot of pressure during the game. Physically, you know, there was one moment, I can't remember which Chelsea player it was, but he got completely bodied off the ball, which you don't really associate with Kevin Danso. Big, strong defender, usually very physical. And I thought João Pedro just gave him the runaround for the majority of the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he massively struggled, again, especially on the ball as well. You just saw the difference between him and Romero. When Romero comes on, just the quality went so significantly higher. But yeah, it was a really poor display, I thought, from Danso on the day, unfortunately. I think, look, defensively, he did struggle, but it wasn't like he was making loads of mistakes. He just was getting caught out. But on the ball, didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the mistakes getting the back line pretty much came from his partner, and Mickey van de Ven. 4s all round from Mickey. He was making quite a few uncharacteristic mistakes yesterday at the back. With the captain's armband on, you know, and since he's had the captain's armband, we've been saying, you know, he's feeling that responsibility. He's playing really well at the top of his game. But yesterday was a shadow of that player. And look, with the goal that we scored, I do feel for him a little bit, because the pass from Javi was just terrible. It was shocking. But still, a player of Mickey van de Ven's quality, you expect him to deal with it and get it away. But look, he was mistake-riddled, couldn't impact the game in a positive light at all, and just a really bad day at the office for him.
Yeah, and then obviously what happened after the game happened as well. Yeah, it wasn't a good day for Mickey whatsoever. As much as Xavi puts him under pressure with a really poor pass, he's got to do a lot better. He can't just dribble right into Caicedo. He's got to either boot it away or make sure he gets out of that situation. He can't put the risk. When someone like Caicedo is near you, you can't risk it, and he did risk it, and he fell flat on his face, unfortunately, and it cost us a goal. Near the end, I understand Tottenham are pushing forward and trying to get that equaliser, albeit not even getting close to Chelsea's goal. But uncharacteristically getting caught out, not using that Van der Ven pace that we know he has, and he was getting caught out time and time again late in that game and nearly cost us. It was just a really bad day for Mickey.
Yeah, Jed Spence up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. I thought from a defensive standpoint, he was probably actually the strongest in the Spurs back line, but it's not saying much because none of them played well. Obviously, it was his mistake in the build-up to Chelsea's goal, which put us under pressure. But yeah, I just feel like, again, like with Spence, like he doesn't offer much going forward. His passing's a bit erratic, but defensively he did okay. I mean, it was nothing great.
Yeah. The thing is with Spence as well, as I keep saying, going forward, it's just such a big problem. There was one point earlier in the game where he gets the ball and he strides right through the heart of the Chelsea kind of midfield, right through the centre. I was like, okay, that's good. But then you realise, like, that's not why he's in the team to do that. He's in the team to hold width and stay wide. And any time he does that, the move breaks down because he's not able to do it. He's good at getting there. He's good at getting into the position he needs to be. But once he gets there, nothing happens because he can't ever sustain an attack. It always slows down the move because he always has to check back on his right foot. He doesn't trust his left foot. And there were times yesterday he had the opportunity to cut inside and cross, but he's just so hesitant. He doesn't want to do that either. So if he's not cutting inside and crossing and he's not going down out on the outside, what is he doing when he gets forward? He's a complete non-event going forward. Attacking-wise, I mean, defensive-wise, don't have too many complaints. I think Neto gave him some trouble, but by and large he was okay in one-on-ones. But yeah, it's just very frustrating on the ball having him there.
João Palhinha up next. Him gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. I think João was probably one of the only outfield players that started the game that actually held some sort of standards, to be honest. I felt like he was one of the only ones that actually kind of knew what it meant to play in a game like this. I felt like he was putting himself about. It looked like he wanted it, but it's just a shame that no one else was on that same wavelength because, you know, the challenges, you know, that he was putting, he was being very aggressive, letting the Chelsea players know he was there, and he won the ball back a number of times. But yeah, just no one else next to him performed anywhere near the standard that he was showing.
I like João Palhinha, and I didn't think he had a terrible game yesterday, but I think he got really showed up yesterday, to be honest, by what Chelsea were having in midfield. Caicedo is just another level to someone like João Palhinha. Palhinha is a destroyer, and he's great at it, and he wins so many tackles, but I think at the level we want to be at, we need more than that. And I think we need more from our centre mids. We need someone who's a lot more comfortable on the ball if you're going to be playing in the middle. And I think he's good to create a solid base like we're doing at the moment, make us a lot harder to beat, a lot harder to play against. But I think he came up against someone yesterday in Caicedo who really showed the levels. I think that is the level that we're competing against. If we want to be near someone like Chelsea, that is the level we have. We have Caicedo, who essentially can win the ball as much as João, yet is another level on the ball. And João, it seems as though, I know this sounds like very negative, but it seems as though with João in our team, it seems like this team always has a ceiling. And it sounds negative, but I think that might be the case when you're comparing him to some of the other players we're facing and we want to be against.
Well, I mean, if you want one of those players in your team, you've got to spend the money to get them.
That's the truth.
Caicedo spent 100 million on him, Rice 100 million on him, Rodri. I don't know how much money they spent on him, but he's like one of the best midfielders in the world. And if you want to get him, you know, you're spending 100 million, 150 million now. So,
or you're doing what Brighton did.
Yeah,
Brighton didn't spend 100 million on him.
Agreed, but Brighton always sell their players. So you need, for a club like Tottenham, I think we need to spend 100 million on a midfielder to get to that level. And look, I like João Palhinha. I think he's been our best player this season. But look, there are clear limitations on the ball with him. Clear. So I think that he can have a very good role in our team, and I'm happy to have him around, but you need to put players around him that can actually do something on the ball, and that doesn't seem like the case either. So, yeah, I thought from the outfield perspective, he was probably one of the only ones that did keep up some sort of standards. His partner in Rodrigo Bentancur, Sim gives him a 5, I gave him a 4. I actually thought Bentancur was having a decent game up until that moment where he should have got sent off, in my opinion. You know, really bad challenge, studs up in the ankles. And I just felt like there was a big argument after that with Reece James. And I just felt like he fell apart a bit after that. He just offered nothing in the game after that. And we had a gaping hole in midfield. They kept creating chances and he was doing nothing to kind of protect that back line.
Yeah, it seemed as though he was the one playing a bit further forward and Sarr was the one playing in a pivot, which I found quite interesting because when you saw the pressing, Bentancur was the one who was always pressing a bit higher than Sarr. So I don't know if that was that was obviously the plan.
I thought they switched a little bit.
Yeah, in terms of the red card, yeah, he was lucky. He was definitely lucky because it was a horrible challenge. If he got sent off, he can have no complaints. I think he just about gets away with it because maybe it wasn't like a full-blooded challenge, and maybe it wasn't as high as it could have been. If it was a bit higher, I think VAR gets involved because it was a little bit lower, and maybe the force was just on the edge. I think he could just about gets away with it. But
it was an ankle breaker. That could have like really.
But I think in slow motion it makes it look like there's a lot more force than it actually was. It wasn't as forceful as maybe the slow mo thinks. I think it's a bad one. Don't get me wrong. I think if it's a red card, he can't have any complaints. But he just about gets away with it because it's not as high, and it wasn't like he was running into it. I think it was just a bit slower, so he got away with it a bit. But I was
certain that VAR was going to intervene and send him off. Like
he was lucky. He was lucky. He could have easily been sent off. If he was asked to be a bit further forward, he didn't really do a good job of it.
Yeah. Well, next up is Pape Matar Sarr. 3s all round for Pape. And he just put in another ghost showing, to be honest. Like, I pretty much didn't see anything positive that he did throughout the 90 minutes. There was nothing to protect the back line. There was nothing going forward. There was just nothing in there from Pape. And these performances from Pape are becoming a bit regular now. I don't know what's going on with him, but in the beginning of the season, he was literally everywhere. He was becoming a goal threat. I know he scored last time against Everton, but when he's starting games, he's just becoming a bit of a ghost, and he's not being the Pape Sarr that we know. And it's very concerning, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. These anonymous displays are becoming a regular thing, and that is like the opposite of Sarr, of what we saw of him previously. It's like even when he's not playing well, you notice him. But recently, he's just been doing no-shows, not getting involved in goal-mouth action. I don't think I saw him near the box once. Defensively, I don't remember him getting involved anywhere near Enzo or James or Caicedo. Frank talked about lacking intensity like we did yesterday, which we definitely did. But why? When we have Sarr, Paulinho and Bentancur all there, how is there a lack of intensity?
I know, like when I saw the lineup yesterday, so I was like, all right, fine, Frank's going for aggression in the middle of the park.
I mean, there was none of it. How can there be none of that?
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be possible. Yeah, it was. So, worrying, I think, form at the moment for Sarr.
Yeah. Next up is Mohamed Kudus. 5s all round for Kudus. I mean, look, Spurs were just praying for a miracle with Kudus, getting to him on the right-hand side, asking him to beat 2 or 3 men every time because they doubled up on him. He couldn't do anything. I thought Cucurella easily dealt with Kudus for the most part yesterday, completely dominated him. He had our only shot on goal, I think, where, Sanchez was equal to it. But, yeah, I don't remember much else apart from that.
Yeah, I mean, we had 3 shots and all 3 were Kudus yesterday. 2 of them, I think, outside the box over the bar. 1 of them, Sanchez had to save. So he was literally the only one trying anything. Quite literally, by the stats, 3 shots, all Kudus. So I think the stats tell the story of the game, really, from his point of view. It was very difficult for him to make an impact when, as you say, he was being doubled up. He wasn't getting much help from anyone else. He was quite isolated, I felt. But we did have a couple of moments from corners and, a couple of times to swing it in, right into Sanchez, right under his throw, and Sanchez was able to easily claim them. So his corners weren't very good. But, we're complaining about not having enough shots, so I can't really complain about Kudus because he was the only one who did.
Yeah. That was a big frustration for me yesterday because, if you're going to put in that kind of display, at least be a threat from set pieces. And every time it seemed like we got a corner, apart from that Pedro Porro one, which looked like it might have gone in straight from the corner. Apart from that, every time Kudus took a corner, straight into the keeper's arms. So frustrating. Next up is Javi Simmons. So he came on for Lucas Bergval's, the concussion sub, after inside the first 5 minutes. 3s all round for Javi Simmons, and I'm starting to really worry about Javi, to be honest. I looked at Javi's performance yesterday, and there were a few kind of flashes on the ball where one time he heads it past a man and takes it past him, and it looked like we're going to start an attack. A few little slight flashes without taking too much away from the game. But what worries me about Javi Simmons is the physicality of the Premier League, and is he up to it? Like, I'm looking at him and looking at his performances so far in the Premier League, and apart from that half an hour at Brighton where he looked really good, every other game, opponents, defenders and midfielders have been able to easily brush him off the ball, like easily. Like literally, it's giving me Brian Hill vibes, the way how easy he is to get the ball off. And that worries me massively. I didn't understand the tactical setup as well, where every time we had a set piece and Roberto Sanchez would catch it and then go up the other end of the pitch really quickly. Why was it always Javi Simmons, like one of the last men back, and he was the one defending? I didn't understand that. Like, he's the smallest man on the pitch. Like, why is he the one trying to stop their attacks? It just made no sense to me. But yeah, look, it was a disaster class from Xavi yesterday again. Yeah,
wasn't good. Can't sit here and say anything else. Had his role to play in the goal as well. Horrific, lazy, I would have to say. Pass back to Van der Ven, and obviously put Van der Ven in trouble, and it led to the goal that we did concede. It's such a simple thing. He just, again, it's just lack of care on the ball. Really frustrating. I have to say, he did put in a few good challenges, though. Like, I thought defensively he did work hard, and he was getting back into his own half, and a few times I remember shouting, yes, Javi, like, really good challenge. He did that a few times. I don't think it's necessary. I don't know. Physically, he's clearly not as physical as obviously some of the midfielders you got in this league, and if once they get near him, they brush him off the ball too easy, and that's something he's got to work on, either creating that separation so he's not allowing them the time to do that, the chance to do that, or obviously getting that bit more physicality so he can ride some challenges. I don't have a massive concern. I think physically, look, I've seen him play Champions League, I've seen him play international football. He can handle it. He can handle those methods of football. I know Premier League is the most physical, but I think it's about getting him in the right positions, and it's about getting him the right opportunities. At the moment, yesterday he was picking the ball up from so deep, and he has so far to go from the way he picks up the ball to the penalty area, where I think he's the most effective in and around the box, and that's where you want him. That's where he becomes effective, and that's where maybe if you got him doing little tricks like 30 yards from goal rather than on the halfway line, because he did some good things, and I agree with you. Like, what would happen is he would beat a man, but then he would have so much distance to still go. By the time he's like trying to get anywhere near the goal, he's already been caught up with and he's getting tackled. Whereas if he was doing that 30 yards from goal rather than on the halfway line, I think there's less opportunity for players.
You can see he's got a lot of talent.
He clearly does, and he can do good things. But at the moment, he's got too much to do between getting on the ball and actually being able to create a chance and do something in and around the box. And then he gets caught up by stronger players like Caicedo and Enzo and blah, 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 and he gets bundled off the ball. But if he can beat a man 30 yards from goal and then instantly, create an opportunity or go for a pass, then I think those are the positions you want him in. But he's too far away from the action at the moment. That's a big problem. I think, physically he's getting bullied off the ball, and that's obviously not great. But look, I don't think I'm not worried about it. I think it's all about him getting used to the league, him understanding how much time he should have for the ball and how much space he has. I think at the moment, when he was in the Bundesliga, that league is so open, and not only is it so open, but all the teams want to attack in transition. So it's open. There's so much space. So he had more time and he had more space to play in, and he didn't have, and he had players to pass to who were in more space as well. In the Premier League, he's got less time, and he's got to be more incisive when he gets the ball. He's got to be more accurate with his passes, and I think that just takes time to get used to that. I'm not worried about it, but at the moment, he's struggling. There's no two ways about it. He's definitely struggling, but I still think he's working hard. But it's damning. I have to say, it's damning. Comes on and gets taken off. Whenever that happens, that's obviously massively embarrassing.
Yeah, but it was a bit of a different. It's not like he got brought on the 60th minute and got taken off on 80th minute. You know what I mean? He came on at like the 5th minute of the game. I think it's a bit of a different kettle of fish.
It's true, but it's still embarrassing.
Yeah, but I think like because it was basically like he started the game. That's how early he came on.
I agree with that, but at the end of the day, that is what happened. Like, and players, I think hopefully it doesn't affect his confidence that happens.
He seems like he's low on confidence anyway. But look, we'll see what happens. Last of the starting 11, Randall Kolo Muani. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. I thought he was just feeding off scraps for the whole game. I think the one thing where he was causing like 1 or 2 problems during the game was his pressing. I think we had one opportunity from good pressing, but I just felt like what we were doing is we were just hitting it long to him every time. He had 2 defenders on him, and he just couldn't do anything. Like, what can I say? Like, he was just completely isolated.
Yeah, he had one moment at the end of the first half, didn't he, where he was running at the Chelsea back line. He somehow got faced on with some defenders, and we managed to create an opportunity from it, which Kuda's obviously had his shot saved. That was literally it from Moani, unfortunately, on the day. Not to say it's necessarily his fault, but we saw very little from him. He was not involved. He moved to the left-hand side for a bit, couldn't get any action there, couldn't get on the ball there. He struggled to impact the game massively. And I think, it was a difficult day for him. I agree, you're feeding off scraps, but we weren't able to literally see much from him.
Yeah. Substitutes, Cuti Romero comes on. Great to see him back. 7s all round. I thought, it was night and day, his performance from anyone else, to be honest, on the pitch. He came on straight away, demanded authority, was taking it past men, was trying to drive us forward. It's a shame that no one was on his wavelength, to be honest. In the latter stages of the game, he goes up front, and in that moment, we've just got a gaping hole at the back, and they created multiple opportunities and moments in that space of time. But it's great to have him back because he is levels above anyone at this moment in time.
Yeah, it was kind of a breath of fresh air when he came on. I was excited to see him back on the pitch. Really happy to see him kind of resume captain duties. And you saw him command that authority when he was on. He even himself in the penalty box tried to make something happen on a few occasions and was unlucky that things didn't quite fall into place on a couple of occasions. But yeah, I think good performance. But unfortunately, when you're a defender, there's only so much you can impact the game.
Yeah, we might have to start playing him up front, the way things are going. Richarlison falls all round for Rich. I mean, he spent more time on the floor than he did actually on his feet, to be honest. Very frustrating performance. Don't remember too many good things that he did. All I remember him is keep falling down.
Yeah. I don't know if he even touched the ball too many times. It was, again, similar to Wani, difficult for him to impact the game, feeding off scraps, but he just wasn't able to do anything, really.
So those are the last of the players that we're going to rate. I mean, Odebear came on with 20 minutes to go.
We were playing long balls to him.
I know. That was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Apparently he had 1 touch in 20 minutes.
Wow. He was kept quiet.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
And last but not least, we're going to look at Thomas Frank. He gets a 2 all-round from us here. And look, like I said in the match review, I've been one of Frank's biggest defenders, but I can't defend him after the game yesterday. It was nothing short of shambolic. You're talking about a big London derby. You saw that the Chelsea players knew exactly what it meant to play in that game yesterday. Overly aggressive, putting themselves about, and we just saw nothing from the Tottenham players to believe that we could do anything in the game. Tactically, it was completely all wrong. We were just going for long balls every time or trying to find Kudus or Moani, and they were completely isolated, not able to do anything. There was no sort of build-up play, no patterns of play, no kind of realistic ways that we could hurt Chelsea. And it just felt like all we were doing in the game was just waiting to die. And that is all on Thomas Frank and the tactical setup that we had in the game. And I felt for the players for the most part, because I thought as much as the players put in disaster classes, I thought it was all born out of Frank's tactical setup.
Yeah, and it's a weird one. Like I understand the goal came from like loads of mistakes, but I don't think the players as much as they didn't play well, it wasn't like a mistake-riddled performance where every pass was just completely wrong and it was like everyone was just constantly making loads of mistakes and that was the problem. Like, I think a lot of the time it was everyone just playing it safe all the time, constantly playing it safe, playing it backwards, looking to keep possession, a lack of appetite of taking risks, a lack of appetite of going forward, always kind of looking for set pieces rather than looking to create opportunities and looking to create chances. And I think that has to come from the mentality of the manager and how he's got them setting up, and that was kind of his approach in the game. He's got to take responsibility for that. And the problem is, what we saw yesterday is a lot of similar of how we've been playing in recent weeks, minus goals from set pieces and maybe a bit more threat from Kudus. So I can't sit here and say this was a massive departure from what we have seen so far this season. So it has to be on Frank, because this is how we've been playing for a lot of the season. Obviously, this was maybe the worst of the lot because we literally didn't get near Chelsea's box. But in terms of the approach and how we've been playing in possession, stuff like that, it's very, very similar to a lot of the setups and a lot of the games we have seen. But in the other games, we've just been able to find a moment or get a goal from a set piece or something like that, which has obviously got us some good results. But on this occasion, we weren't able to do it. The luck dried out. You know, we ran out of luck in this game that we've maybe been having in some of the other games. And this was the end result. So, I think as much as the players take responsibility, I think Frank ultimately, it comes down from his mentality of how to approach this game, and it was all wrong.
Yeah.
But it's so weird how it was that bad, because before the game he said it wasn't going to be that.
Yeah, I know. So it's a massive kick in the teeth, to be honest. But like I keep saying, we've just got to hope and pray that he sees the problems and he wants to rectify it, and he sees what everyone else is seeing, and it needs to get a lot better. So those are the player ratings. We are going to move on to the way the internet did react to the game. I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to this one. First of all, Nathan Clark says, not ideal. And this was the XG timeline.
How mad is it? That line at the bottom, that's not the axis, that is RXG. That's RXG. It's just a straight line of nothing.
I just don't get, how can you create a 0.05 XG at home?
Mental.
Against a Chelsea team that you can get at as well. Like, their defence is not impenetrable.
You should be able to create a few chances. 100%.
And as well, I was reading a stat before the game. Like, they've conceded one of the most shots from set pieces this season.
Well, we couldn't even do anything there. We nearly created one. Bentancur should have scored, really. That one moment from a long throw.
Yeah.
He chested it. He should have got a shot away.
It was a bad touch.
So that should have been a goal. Apart from that, though, we created absolutely zilch. Porro attempted a long throw as well.
Oh, my God.
That was dreadful.
Yeah, because Danso had gone off. I'm like, who's going to take this long throw now? Porro just, he's not it.
Never had before has XG timeline really told the story of a game before, I think. Sometimes XG timelines can be manipulative and don't really tell the full story. But on this occasion, I can't really say anything.
Yeah, and you're looking at now, like, the two home games where we created the least XG is this one and Villarreal. I think Villarreal was like 0.08 or something stupid.
We won that game.
Yeah, and we won 1-0 from an own goal in the first minute. But I've never seen this before.
Yeah, this low. Well, Frank said his teams have never created such little XG.
Yeah, do you think that was an attack on the players, or do you think he's just saying, like, we need to get better?
It's a great... good question, as Frank would say. It's a good question. I think he must be saying we have to get better, but maybe it is an attack on his players. I wouldn't think so, really, but maybe.
You know that XG yesterday at home was our lowest XG at home since records began.
Crazy, and we have had some dross.
Records began in 2012.
2012. So. Yeah. That's like, Sherwood era. We're talking AVB.
Yeah.
We're talking defensive Conte and Mourinho times. And this has been the worst.
Yeah. Tottenham independent transfer stories. Even that went backwards. Frank was absolutely fuming when we conceded that goal.
That was a goal, obviously showing his frustration.
Yeah. Arsene Wenger vibes with the bottle.
Yeah. And look, I'm not surprised, because that goal was so avoidable, and we had, how many chances did we have to clear it? We had Spence had the chance. We had Xavi had a chance to get rid of it. Van der Ven had 2 chances to get rid of it. And it all conspired to us conceding. So if I'm Frank, yeah, you got to be fuming with that.
Yeah. So you tweeted out from the game yesterday, Vicario apologising to the fans after the defeat. It didn't even look like he was apologising in this video.
There's one moment where he kind of, I don't know what he's doing. First of all, what is he doing with Bergvall at the start of the video? He's kind of like telling him to go away and pushing him. I don't know if Bergvall was like responding to a fan or something.
Maybe a fan was shouting at Bergvall or something.
But he was pushing Bergvall. And then something happened here with a fan. So he does. There's a point where he puts his hands up like that, but there is a point here. I don't know what he's signalling because he starts pointing to a fan. He's saying, "I'm watching you." He goes, "I'm watching you." He goes, he's got his eyes there. He's saying, "I'm watching you" to the fan. He keeps saying, I don't know if I don't know if a fan is abusing him, which doesn't make sense because he had a great game, or maybe he's just saying, "I see you" because he's showing you love. I don't know what he's trying to do. But even then, look, he's trudging off. Then I think he turns around again and points to the fan. Yeah, look, he turns around again and says, "I'm watching you." Look, again, he says, "I'm watching you." I don't know if he's saying, "See me outside."
That's what it looks like he's saying. Yeah. He's like, "Meet me in the car park."
So he's pointing at that fan. So I don't know if that fan is showing him abuse or he's like showing him love. He's like saying, "I see you," like I see you showing love. Or maybe saying, "Oh, if you want to show that abuse, catch me outside." I'm not quite sure what's going on there with Vicario. But yeah,
it's like when you see those altercations in the away end and they're like, "Oh, outside."
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. But there was one moment. The reason I titled it apologising because there was one moment he does like put his hands up apologising to some of the other fans there. So because I didn't know what else because there was something going on, but I'm not 100% sure what it was.
Yeah.
Something going on with him and a fan there.
Very strange.
But if there was anyone giving him abuse, that makes no sense. He's a complete wrong player to give abuse to.
And those 2 players as well, like Bergvall goes off after the first 5 minutes. He's got nothing to do with it. And Vicario has been our man of the match last 3 games. So, I don't know. Last word on Spurs says, no other team in the Premier League has made more mistakes that have led to goals than Tottenham this season. Wow.
That's mental, isn't it? I did like it more because I wanted the Frank bottle, but someone else liked that anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. We've made that many mistakes. Maybe it is. Maybe it does go to show about the quality of our team.
Felon82 says Spurs scored 64 goals in the Premier League last season. Son, Kulu, Madders and Solanke scored and created 55 of them. And what Frank's been given to fill that, Odegaard and Tell, Shite, Javi, Flop, unfit Muani, Shitarlison and Kudus Dembele on the wing. It's a championship attack. I mean, I get what he's saying about, you know, we're missing a lot of goal contributions from last season because a lot of these players are out injured and we sold. But we should still be able to find more goals in them than we are. That's the reality. As much as I agree the sentiment that a lot of these players are probably not good enough, and some of them are definitely not good enough, still, they should be doing a lot better than they are.
Yeah. I think the unfortunate thing for Frank is obviously Richarlison's played a lot. Muani is only his second start in the Tottenham shirt, and as you say, he's come back on field. Xavi is young and he's in a new team, and there's a lot of reasons why it was hard for him to hit the ground running. So I don't necessarily think it's about them not being good enough, but I think it's also fair to say everything might need a bit of time to gel. But I think even in that context of needing time to gel, like one shot in a home game against your London rivals and barely threatening is 10 games into the season is nowhere near the levels we expect as a Tottenham team. Like you can give all the excuses you want, but we've never kind of struggled this much to even create opportunities at any game really before kind of like this. So I think that has to be taken into context as well. Like we had 9 men and created more chances.
Yeah.
Way more chances.
Yeah.
So
True.
like that has to be in the context as well.
I agree. IBZ, whatever that name is, says Cucurella locked him up so bad he started giving him advice.
Bastard.
Cucurella was really good yesterday, man.
Yeah, he did play well.
Mark Statsbot says Spurs 0, Chelsea 1, XG, this one says 0.17, not 0.05.
Hello.
2.5, X threat 0.84 to 1.77, possession 48 to 51.
I think if you go to the past map, I think this is quite telling. next one. This one here. So on the right is Chelsea, on the left is Tottenham. Like Chelsea seems so like organised and like the pattern is clearly there of where everyone wants to be. Tottenham seems a bit too much of a mishmash. The attackers are isolated. Like where there's no real width. We're kind of expecting Spence to provide the width. Sarr and Paulinho are very close together. Like and they're not two players who are very good at passing as well. And also the big thing, look how far up Chelsea are. They've come to our house. And look how far they're pushing up. Look how many players their average position is in our half. And look at us. Yeah. Like, not only is there very little, but there's no passing between the front four as well. So I think that also tells a big story about just the different tactical approaches of both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Spurs News says, take me back. I'd rather have a go. This is utter bollocks.
Would you like to see this for the last 10 minutes? Just go halfway line and inshallah?
I don't know about halfway line, but I just want to see us like have a go. Like, I think Ange was too much. Frank is also too much. There needs to be some balance.
But Frank has never been known as like a super pragmatic manager.
No,
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, what's his name? The drummer called it spot on actually. Like Stel said last week. Like he said, well, I think he said on the fan cam this week. He said that Frank is doing unfrank things, and I just don't understand it. He needs to change it.
Yeah, it's like we know that Mourinho and Conte have been known for being a bit pragmatic, like quite pragmatic and stuff. But like Frank, obviously he's been a bit more of a counter-attack manager, but I've never really thought of him as like someone who's super pragmatic and like only looks to protect. So, it's very odd that we're playing the way we are at the moment.
Yeah. This Arsenal fan says Arsenal have lost only 6 more home games at their new stadium than Spurs have in theirs, and Arsenal moved in 2006 and Spurs moved in 2019, which means by the end of this season they would have lost less than we have at our new stadium, which is one of the most embarrassing stats I've heard, man. That is seriously, man, no words can describe how embarrassing that is. They moved there in 2006, bro. Oh my God. It's mad.
The stadium was meant to get us to compete.
I know. And I think, we've lost to Chelsea every single time we played them.
How many losses are we behind?
No, we beat them and it was skip.
How many losses are we behind White Hart Lane?
10 losses.
We're catching up. We're catching up to White Hart Lane at this rate.
How many years is it going to take us to catch up to White Hart Lane?
Honestly. At this rate, not even joking. Man, yeah, it's... I don't know, what is it? Do you reckon it's just like... is it too nice for away teams? We need to run like...
Yeah, I've heard this.
Like, it's like the dressing room's lovely, like, everything's just too nice for them. We need to I don't know.
I think it's just that Spurs have been more or less a shit show every season since moving in there.
Yeah, but why... Yeah. Yeah. Hard to argue with that.
Ollie Davis says, day one of not cutting my hair until Spurs make 5 forward passes in a row.
It's going to be a long time, mate. It's going to be a long time, Ollie.
Nathan Clark says, results have been decent under Frank, but underlying numbers would suggest that Spurs have gone from terrible at the end of last season to merely pretty bad after 10 league games.
Yeah, so that was Ange last season. This is basically it's like a rolling XG timeline of the green is the XG and the red is like XG conceded. So you can see that we started last season obviously really well, and then obviously everything that happened, and then we ended up awful. And this season though, we haven't really got the green's never really been on top. Yeah, which is a bit of a worry.
It's a massive worry.
But and this is what Frank prides himself on as well. These kind of
XG,
data things.
Yeah.
And so he's got obviously he must know it. It's not something that's a surprise to him. Like he obviously knows this stuff.
Yeah. Kieran Gill says, courtesy of Opta, Tottenham's XG of 0.05 from this 1-0 loss is their lowest ever recorded in the Premier League. So it's not even a home game. It's just lowest ever recorded.
Ever. Wow. Yeah, the reason why that's 0.05 and the other one's 0.17 because different data providers have different numbers for XG. So this is the Opta numbers who created XG. They created it.
Coy's Comp says, Ange's Nottingham Forest had 12 shots and created 2.35 XG against Chelsea 2 weeks ago. Today we had 3 shots and created 0.01 XG. That is abhorrent. However, Frank was 3rd in the league yesterday and Ange was 17th in the league with Forest. So...
yeah, that's true.
I guess it's give and take.
Yeah, true. But at least, just on that game, he just showed it's not impossible to create chances against this Chelsea
We
team.
know, not just Ange has proven it. Many teams have proven it this season. Sunderland last week. You know, I think Chelsea have been conceding not a high amount of XG every game, but a considerable amount throughout the season. You know, their defence have not been good.
3-1 West Ham, wow.
Bloody hell. CFC Daily, this was Pedro Neto riling up the Spurs fans, so they must have been shouting at him or something, and he turns around and gives it to them.
Sticks his tongue out. What a bastard. Someone should have thrown something at him. Oh, well.
There was stuff being thrown, I don't know if you saw yesterday, because the ref went over and picked up some like small Jack Daniels bottles from the pitch.
What, when players went to take a corner or something?
In the first half, I don't know if it was a corner or a throw-on or something.
Didn't see. I saw there was obviously the obvious abuse being held, and the old wanker sign coming out. Saw that, but I didn't see anything being chucked.
So, Sam Witt says, brutally honest, Burnley good, Man City good, Bournemouth dreadful, West Ham okay-ish, Villarreal bad, Wolves dreadful, Bodo dreadful, Leeds okay, Villa dreadful, Monaco dreadful, Everton bad, Newcastle okay, and Chelsea dreadful.
Do you agree with that? I would probably upgrade Everton from bad to okay, and probably Villa.
3-0 away at Everton, you can't really complain with that.
Yeah, but it wasn't good. It wasn't like the City performance, was it?
No, but Everton are not City, like they set up in a different way.
Yeah, fair. Okay, you can maybe say Everton good. I would say Villa bad, not instead of dreadful.
For me, the dreadful performances this season have been Chelsea, Monaco, Bodo, and Bournemouth.
And Wolves?
I would say Wolves. I think Wolves was like 45 minutes was dreadful, but 45 minutes was all right. So I would say
upgraded
Wolves
to a bad.
Yeah, yeah. So,
but you also have to add in the context that we are playing a team that's currently still winless in the league.
that's also true. So yeah, probably dreadful. Yeah, look, it's hard to disagree with some of that. I even think Burnley, I know we won 3-0 that day, but I don't even think we were that great that day.
Yeah, I agree. But he's put that in the good category. So you're saying there's only 2 goods?
Man City, it should be amazing.
Exactly. Come on.
We were amazing that day. I agree. So
is that all our fixtures? Have you left any out? 1, 2, 3.
You don't have Doncaster in there.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 13. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Look, it's hard to disagree with the majority.
He even put Newcastle a 2-0 loss in the OK category.
Yeah. I mean, we deserve to lose, but in terms of pure performance, there were some things to take from the game. In terms of the performances that I put in dreadful, there's like in those games, there's just nothing to go on.
I think I guess if you're being brutally honest, like he's saying, I think maybe there's a couple I disagree with, but by and large, it's not completely wrong.
Yeah.
I think, but what I would say is, though, that's more like on the ball football wise. I think if you're taking the whole performance into account, like defensively, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
maybe you can adjust some of that.
Yeah.
Because Everton
I
wasn't
guess.
bad if you're taking defensively. So I think on the ball, I think it's right. But if the whole performance, not necessarily.
So this account called #FrankOut says single-handedly keeping Frank in a job. It's obviously highlighting Guillermo Vicario. And I was actually thinking about this last night. Like, if we would have got battered 4-5-0 to Monaco, if we would have lost to Bodo by a significant scoreline, if we would have lost yesterday 4-0, like all results that we deserved on the day, How much pressure would Frank be under right now?
Yeah, more. That's for sure. A lot more than he is. I think it's. I'm not saying it's keeping him in a job, but I think the pressure on him and the fan outrage would be a lot higher, 100%. So he's got Vicario 100% to thank.
Yeah. No context. Tottenham says let him cook,
and it's just the blandest meal deal. Oh God. Oh man. It's starting, isn't it? It's starting.
Only one person can change it.
Oh, God.
Eurofoot says Tottenham's XG of 0.05 against Chelsea is the lowest recorded by any team in the Premier League this season. Wow. Bloody Wolves are making more XG than us. West Ham.
That's how mad it is. That's like, it's just mind-boggling how it's that low.
Yeah. Tottenham Independent Transfer Story says Thomas just 0.05 on the expected goals today, but it's a tough place to come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
That would be a classic Mousy question.
No context. Tottenham saying, "How am I doing, boss?" Timo Werner says, "You're doing a great job, son. A great job."
Oh no! Oh no! He's getting compared to Werner already. Deary me.
Mark Stat says Caicedo is the best ball-winning central midfielder in the Premier League this season, and only a few individuals are better at progressing the ball than him.
Yeah, but I think the main thing is look at where Paulinho and Bentancur are.
Yeah.
When it comes to ball
progression, it makes sense though, doesn't it?
When it goes to ball progression, only, I guess I'm surprised with Belaber's so low, but only Belaber and Minetzi are lower.
But I don't need that graph to tell you how bad they've been at progressing the ball this season. You know what I mean?
Well, it's good that data can sometimes back up the eye test.
Has the referee or VAR been says, yes, that should have been a red card for Bentancur after committing a reckless challenge on Reece James. Yeah, I just don't understand how
he's looking right at the ref. Look.
Yeah.
Not the ref's view.
Yeah. Mad.
Yeah.
But look, I'll take it. SofaScore says Spurs is new low from the start of 22-23 season until earlier today. Tottenham have never accumulated less than 0.19 XG in any of their 123 Premier League matches. This evening, Chelsea took that record to another level. The thing is, it wasn't Chelsea that took that record to another level. It was all self-inflicted.
Yeah, our lack of bravery, I think with another word to say to it. We were just so cowardly. It was incredible how cowardly we were on the ball.
Apollo has brought us another Javi Simmons and Timo Werner meme.
Come on, Javi. We need to stop this madness. We need to stop this madness.
Jack Pickbrook says Tottenham have now played 20 home Premier League games over the last year. 4 wins, 4 draws and 12 defeats. 16 points for a possible 60. 0.8 points per game. Just ahead of West Ham over the last year, who averaged a 0.78, 20% win record. And that is shockingly bad. And I don't remember ever in my Spurs supporting lifetime, and I've seen some dross in my time, the Jerry Francis's and the Christian Grosses and all that kind of stuff. I've never remember us being this bad at home.
Yeah, we've always, I know we've sometimes been a soft touch, but we've always at some point turned up and sometimes played good football, and the odd game will be good. At the moment, it's like every home game is just hard to go to, it's hard to watch because we're just struggling so bad. And it's obviously not just this season, last season as well, the second half of last season at home, we were absolutely diabolical as well. So this whole year has just been absolutely shocking.
Yeah. Sneha says, watching Tottenham Hotspur, and I think this is how we all are at this moment in time.
Oh, God. Stressed.
Yeah. Whether you're not a fan of Frank, whether you're a fan of Frank, no matter where you are in the Frank spectrum, there's just no defending this. There's just nothing. Opta Joe says 0.05. Tottenham's XG total of 0.05 this evening was their lowest on record in the Premier League game with their 504th game in the competition since the start of 2012-2013.
Crazy.
XG philosophy, Tottenham 0.10 to Chelsea's 3.3.
That's also another thing no one's really talking about. Not only how low ours was, but how high Chelsea's was.
Yeah.
Chelsea have not even been that good going forward this season. They haven't been blowing teams away.
They're still the top goal scorers in the Premier League.
They are, but I'm saying in terms of like chances created and stuff. Maybe they have. I have to look into it, to be honest. But when I've watched them, they haven't seemed like to be a free-flowing team.
No, I agree with that. Septus Prime saying, I'm crying, man. Spence just said, what fam, to Cucurella, and it had him shook.
Yeah,
Cucurella was a bit
flinched.
shook here, man.
He flinched. Someone said someone retweeted saying he's lost a lot of aura points there, Cucurella.
100%. Spain.
Yeah, he didn't want this. He didn't want the smoke. He did not want the smoke.
Spence gave it to him.
Spence doesn't give a shit.
No, not a shit at all. So Spurs Army says, wow, Jed Spence and Van de Ven both walked straight past Thomas Frank at the full-time whistle following the defeat to Chelsea. So this is the moment that we were speaking about in the match review, which we both said was a complete disrespect to Thomas Frank. Just walking past him like he's not even there.
So let's see if there's anything more. So,
and the way Thomas Frank just stares at them walking down the tunnel as well.
Yeah, the death stare. But so what was his hand? His hand movement signals like kind of, yeah, he's definitely saying, well, you're going back in? You're not going to say bye to the fans? And he just like, I don't know, I thought he would at least, I don't know, I just think it looks a bit weak. Just the way he kind of meekly is like, you're not going to go say bye to the fans? But that death stare was, not something I want to be on the end of either.
No, I think Frank's definitely given it to them. He has to. But again, I bring it back to what I said before. I don't think there's much more he could do on the pitch at that moment. I think he has to just wait until he gets in the dressing room with them and then absolutely give it to them.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's it. That is it from how the internet did react to the game. But look, we'll be back tomorrow for some more content. That is all we have time for today.
You said a week ago you couldn't be happier with how things are.
I couldn't be happier. I still couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Look, we'll see how it goes, man. Look, I'm still 100% behind Thomas Frank. I still believe wholeheartedly that he can turn it around. But the reality is it's not good enough, particularly yesterday. Yesterday was nowhere near at the levels that we could have gone, that we've been seen so far. But we have to expect and we have to demand better.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and I'm sure it will get better.
Yeah, I'm sure we're not going to put in a performance as bad as this, although I was sure after Bournemouth and we kind of did. So we kind of got worse yesterday. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks about Frank which have still unanswered at the moment, I would say. Not to say I think he's even a bad manager, and even if it, let's say, for whatever reason it doesn't work out on him, it doesn't even mean I'm saying he's a bad manager. But I just think there are definitely question marks about him and his fit at this club, I think. And at the moment, we are fourth, and that's fine, and we're doing well, but those questions remain for me.
Yeah, if we keep playing, if we have any carbon copies of this Chelsea game over the next couple of weeks, then we're going to be nowhere near fourth. That's the reality. Yeah. So, yeah, big few weeks ahead, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.